What's going on, squad? Chris with NoLimitSquad, your personal Isochain and fitness vlogging channel. Today we're gonna go over the final mode of the Isochain, which is average mode. Average mode has its place in our training. Average mode is all about time under tension. You're really going to be focusing on average mode when we talk about endurance lifts, strength/hypertrophy lifts, and hypertrophy lifts with the Isochain. Let's get into this sucker. So this right here is our average mode button. So our average mode training really shines when we're talking about like time under tension holds. Yes, strength lifts have its place. I know we've talked about strength a lot on this channel with like maybe 30 to 40% talking about other types of lifts, but it's really important to go over those just because I don't really perform a lot of those. I have in my Isochain training. It doesn't mean that's gonna be the same for everyone else. A lot of us on the squad and future squad members are going to need average mode, so it's important to learn why we're gonna use it. So let's give an example. Let's say we're performing the shoulder press and we push a 100 on the shoulder press. Now, since we're talking about a really basic number, let's take 100 and we go 60 to 85% because we know that's that hypertrophy range. So let's just take 60%. So 100 times 0.6 equals 60. So we know that we have to pull a 60. Now that's for 20 to 45 seconds. So here's the setup. You set the load, yeah, not 329, huh? How about 60? How about like a quarter of that? All right, so 60, it's gonna blink once. It's gonna blink twice. Set, do the time, 60. Blink once, blink twice, it's set the time mode, now 60. Now hold the time. How much time are we holding for? 6 seconds, you know that's not gonna work. So we're gonna need, let's give it the initial 20 to start the strength hypertrophy number. All right, so we're gonna blink once, we're gonna blink twice, and we are good, we are set. We have to hold that number for 20 seconds. So I'm not going to shoulder press, I'm just gonna hold this. Let's see if I can hold it from this awkward position for over 60 pounds of force. Here we go. All right, so as you hear it beeping, I'm floating around 75 right now for pounds of force exerted. Once it gets to that 19 and 20, it's gonna beep and it's gonna go beep. Just like that. I didn't even mean to time it like that. It just ended up working that way. The max contraction number here, I think it was like 80 something, 84.4. The average amount of force though was this, 56.8. In that 20 seconds, my average force production, 56.8 pounds of force. Why is that important? That is really important when we're talking about time under tension. If we're lifting a dumbbell and we're doing 20-pound dumbbell curls until failure, and let's say we failed at a minute, right? And then we did a 30-pound dumbbell curl, and we did that to failure for a minute. Under which load was your bicep muscle under more stress? The 30-pound dumbbell. Now that's just for dynamic. So now that we have that number, 56.8, all we have to do now is go for that same lift. And now we have to beat 56.8 on the average amount of force production that's put into the bar. This is where the tech really shines. In my last program, I was using average mode for the calf raise, and it really burned and it was really effective. I knew that I had to beat last time's average mode number, and it was very effective. It let me know because I set the number to beep. I knew that if I was exceeding or matching that number, my average mode number was going to exceed last session's average mode number. Progressive overload at its finest. So what would we need to use this type of training for? What would we need to use average mode for? Like I said in the beginning, strength/hypertrophy or endurance lifts. Something where just hitting max mode isn't going to cut it because it doesn't really like give enough data. Here's what I mean. Like if we're going for a lift and we're holding it for 60 seconds, which seems like an eternity on the Isochain, max mode is just not gonna cut it because at what point during those 60 seconds did you hit max? Maybe like the first couple seconds before it was an all downhill drop. So we need to know what our average force production was throughout the entire lift. Now we have better data to thereby use progressive overload to hit that next stage in our training. This is the basic building blocks of progressive overload right here, using that number and then trying to beat it. Having that number there is awesome. So now I know that 56.8 is what I got before. I have to beat that. So when I perform that next lift for 20 seconds, I know that I have to put in a little bit more oomph in that 20 seconds to get higher than a 56.8. All right. The type of training I use average mode for are your martial arts. Martial arts is a unique breed where you need a lot of that strength 6-second holds, but you also need those endurance. I wouldn't even mess with the strength hypertrophy stuff. It would be either strength and endurance for martial arts. I already have the beginning of what's going to be a fantastic series on that, where I cover the grapplers. If you haven't seen that video, here's a link right here on a grappling Isochain workout. Go ahead and check that out. It's pretty fun stuff. This is just right off the top of my head, a marathon runner. A marathon runner, I would have muscular endurance, because for any squad members or people that aren't and just checking out the channel, it's not just cardio when you're running. Your muscles are very, very much involved. And if they gas out, you're playing a balancing game when you're running a marathon. You need to have your leg endurance musculature built up, and you need to have your cardiovascular system built up. If your cardio's on point, but your leg muscles die out first, you're gonna start walking. There's nothing left to go. Vice versa, your muscles are on point, but your cardiovascular system's trash. Well, your muscles are fine, but you can't catch your breath during the run. You're gonna walk. Either way, you're screwed. Okay, so this is a fantastic piece of equipment here to work on the muscle portion of that. Also, your resting heart rate's gonna go down too, which is great. Byproduct of the Isochain. Don't know that video? Here's a link right there on cardio on the Isochain. Check that out. I don't know if you knew I made that. It's like forever ago. Those are just two examples. There's many, many different scenarios where average mode will come into play. Any scenario where you are trying to have your muscles last as long as possible, average mode is gonna be your boy. No need to stretch this video out. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, go ahead and comment. If you're not yet part of the squad, hit that subscribe button. Come join the squad with us. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.